Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be another helpful advice video, and it's going to help those who are interested in buying a Honda Civic Type R. Now, this can apply for a used Type R, but with the 2023s coming out this fall, there can be people who are wanting to get prepared, and I thought doing this video now would sort of, help you get your ducks in a row. So when the time comes, you can minimize your time of dealing with some of the other financial things of it and just getting straight to the car, because a car like this is going to go fast, and if you're not prepared, you can lose it. All right, so keep watching. Okay, when we talk about these cars, this is a Type R, obviously. It's not your run-of-the-mill LX or your Civic, Touring that you may be able to find multiple ones at different Honda dealers. Okay, when these cars are there, they're either going to be sold before the dealer gets there, or they're going to have one. They're going to only have one sitting on the lot, okay? Which means it's going to be very competitive. And I want to help you get there to a point where you can just walk in, you can negotiate, get your numbers, and walk out quickly. Because if you don't, someone else is going to come right behind you and snatch that car away. Okay. Now, I bought several kinds of cars over the last few years. BMW M3, they got the C63 here, Type R, the X5. I bought several different cars, and I have learned a lot through some of the, trial and error. And at the very beginning, when I was young, in my early 20s, I thought I knew everything, and it just threw me a curveball each time. I went through buying cars in 2008 when we were in that recession, and that was very difficult because banks weren't giving out money, and you had to really show everything out there. It was difficult. So the first thing I always recommend before you even start is checking your credit score. Okay, getting to know your credit is like knowing your personal report card. It's like if you wouldn't apply for college or some type of class or school without knowing what your grades are, what your GPA is like, and that's sort of the same thing. You wouldn't apply for an auto loan without knowing your actual score. You know where you stand ahead of time. When you go through the application process, you kind of have a good idea, so you're not kind of thrown off about it. A good score is going to be anywhere from, obviously you like to have a 700 plus. If you're up there, you're kind of like in the good range. If you're above 780, you're in excellent credit. If you're in excellent credit range, you can pretty much get any advertised loan product available to you. What I mean is, if the bank is advertising starting as low as X percent, say for example 2% as their rate, with your excellent credit, you're going to get that lowest rate. Okay. Now, if your credit is lower, score is lower, say if you're in a 650, you may not get that 2% rate. You may be looking at like a 3.5 to 4%, and it all depends on the bank or credit union you go through. But this is why I suggest starting this off before you even go to the dealership, because the last thing you want is to walk in there and then figure this out when the car is sitting there and then trying to deal with it, because there could be multiple people doing the same thing and they're trying to negotiate on that same car. Last part, you also don't want to walk in and figure out that it's not working out, or you need to do a little more homework. The dealership isn't the time and place to be learning this kind of things. So when you apply for an auto loan, I recommend going through your personal bank. If you bank with Chase Bank, go through Chase Bank. If you go through credit union, go through credit union. And there's nothing wrong with applying to multiple places. What you don't want is to wait till you get to dealership, and the first time you apply is at the dealership. I think those who are excellent credit, I think they have a little more freedom. So if your credit score is like 800 range and you had several car loans in your past, you may have the confidence to be able to walk in there and apply right then at the dealership and go in, and if something were to go wrong, you can just quickly flip your phone and apply somewhere else and get the rate you want. but I don't think that's the best practice. I think best practice is going in ahead of time and knowing. Okay, now people are going to say, oh, you pay cash for the car, cash is king. Cash doesn't hold water, and I learned this before. I think people who watch my channel have helped me actually, and I thought I knew everything. I've walked into a dealership, or I've called dealerships from out of states before, because said these cars you may have looking at one, so you may have to call from out of state. And I called on the car. This was actually my X5M, and I called on one in Minnesota. And guess what? I told them, I said, look, I'm pre-approved, I'm ready to go my own financing. Let's do it. And someone else walked through that door, and I'm assuming they probably was going to do in-house financing through the dealership. Dealership saw, hey, there's a little more incentive for us. So who did they pick? Me or the other person? They picked the other person. One, they're local. Second person, they probably because they're using in-house financing. So I lost that deal. But this is your chance when you apply, is to know your budget. Okay, you don't want to walk into the dealership and not know what you expect to pay per month. All right, there are apps out there, there are online calculators out there. No, this is the part you find out what your ideal payment situation is going to be. So you can play the numbers, you can see what your loan's going to be in comparison to the term. I don't recommend going above 72 months. I know people who do it, but that's your own personal, but I just recommend, I think 72 months with the cost of cars now, I think that's a good stopping point. You can go less than that, but you have a higher payment. Okay, so your payment's going to be automatically configured by your interest rate, your money down, and the term that you're going for. So if you are financing, say, $40,000, you're gonna have X amount of payment. Okay, so let's say, for example, on this one, I'm looking at on my calculator here on my phone's payment. It's called car payment. I use this a lot when I'm trying to figure out like what my budget is before I even start. So the negotiated amount is $40,000, and let's say our sales tax is 8%. And I'm in California, we're probably 8-9% depending on where you are. I'm gonna say 8%. And then the annual interest is 2%. The 2% is what the interest rate is on the loan. The sales tax is the percentage that's gonna be added to the cost of the car, the $40,000. So $40,000 car ends up becoming a $43,000 car because the taxes adds a little over $3,000. Okay, and then you see that the total cost of the loan is like $45,800. That's the 2%. So that 2% is going to be about $2,600. Okay, now your payment overall is gonna be $637 a month. Okay, this is why you don't want to do this at the dealership. It's because a dealer can fix your payments what you want. So if I walk in, I say I'm trying to stay under $500 a month. Bad practice. You don't want to say that. You don't want to walk in there and tell them what your payment is, what your max budget is, because then that tells them you don't know what you're doing. And the second part is the payments are configured. So we keep everything the same, but let's say let's make this out to 96 months. Let's just go out to a little bit longer. All right, 96 months, 8-year loan, and you are paying 8 years on a car. Well, guess what? The payment is that same car I told you is $487. So your payment now below $500, and you're like, okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Sales Advisor. You did a good job of getting my car payment exactly where I want it to. I'm happy with everything else. But guess what? Your payment on that car is going to be pretty high. And I'm just keeping it at 2%. Usually when you go higher or longer in term like that, you end up paying more interest. The bank sees that as more risk, okay? Because you're most likely going to be in a position where you can have this car for 8 years, and the car is going to depreciate faster than what the value is going to be. So you're going to be upside down, okay? Now, the bank see it as a risk because they're saying if anything mechanically happens to that car outside of that warranty period, it could be risky, because if it comes down to making a car payment or paying for the car, you may skip the payments. All right, and that's not saying that you're going to do that, but that's how the bank views it. The bank views the car as anything that's covered in warranty. That's why new cars always have a better interest rate than a used car. You can get it. You have more chance of getting it approved on a new car than a used car because the car is covered under warranty. So if your credit is less than perfect, let's say your credit's like 650 or 640, okay, or lower, you have a higher chance of getting approved on a brand new car because of that warranty period. The bank is seeing you at a higher risk. All right, now if your credit's that low, I highly recommend and suggest you go ahead and try to do things to improve your credit. Find out what's hurting you. There's scorecards out there you can go through. Credit Karma, I think, is really good to monitor the things, and they give you advice out there too, as far as what to do. Like if you need to pay off certain high balance credit cards, you need to work on those. If you have some charge-offs or some things in collection, you need to take care of that. Take care of those things. Do that first, and you watch your score shoot up dramatically. Just to say, your payment is automatically going to be configured on its own. So don't tell the dealer what you want payment is. You determine that. You look at the calculators. You say, all right, I want this. This is my target payment amount. You play with it. If you need to figure out if you need to add more cash down, because cash down is going to reduce your payment more. I think about every $1,000 should take out about $20 off your payment that you add down. Okay. I always recommend bare minimum to pay the taxes. So $3,000 taxes, pay $3,000, and that way you're only financing the cost of the car, not the extra fees into the loan, because you're going to take a while to pay that off before you get down and start chipping away at the actual principal, the balance of the car itself. Okay, it puts you in more position to where if I want to trade this car in a year or two from now, I'm not as upside down. I probably could break even, given the current values. But most likely in 3 years, you're kind of at that break even point. You can private sell the car. I think if you want to trade in a car, you have to keep the car for at least 4 years if you do a 72-month financing. Like I said, best sources, banks and credit unions, and they're going to give you the rate. They're going to give you the amount, and depending on how they do it, some credit unions are going to have a little more paperwork involved. You can get a better rate with the credit union, but they're going to want to see a little bit more. They're going to want to see the purchase order. They're going to want to see certain items that the dealership needs to provide to them. Some wants to see the car, and if it's a used car, they want you to bring the car to their branch, and they're going to have a person that actually check it out physically and put eyes on the car and look around, make sure that you're not buying a piece of junk. If it's a bank, most likely it's less. Sometimes some banks will give you like a blank check. You take it to the dealership, they'll fill it out, and then you pretty much are shopping like a cash buyer. Okay, and like I said, cash isn't the same like it used to be years ago when people couldn't get approved for loans, where it seemed like, oh, if you got cash, that was great, that was less. No, the dealers, they get more money, more incentive if they can finance you, the person, they're the bank. So they'll get a percentage by charging, say for example, if they're charging you a 4% interest, technically that bank is giving a loan to you for 3%, and the dealership gets that 1% kickback from that bank interest rate from you. So that's how they make money. But your best bet is to just get pre-approved first, walk into the dealership. That way you can focus on the car you like, if you like it, if you want to drive it, blah, blah, blah. Think of it like having that pre-approval, that loan in your back pocket, like an ACE card, okay? If anything were to go wrong in that process, you pull that out. Guess what? I'm not using your financing, I'm using my own. Let's continue with this car, okay? Well, I don't like your terms, I don't like your interest rate, I'm using my own bank. I'm already approved, so we don't have to deal with that, okay? That way you're not at the mercy of the dealership. You're not sitting there waiting at the table while they run your credit, and you're hoping that please God, please, I hope that I get approved for this loan. While you're sitting there, you've already test driven the car, you already fell in love with the car, and then to tell you sorry that you can't get the car because your credit didn't go through, or you can get the car but now you're at like a 14% interest rate. But don't worry, come back in a year from now and we'll refinance you. That's just something to get you out the door, and you take the higher rate. So you always got to do your homework ahead of time. First of all, the dealer isn't the bank, okay? So don't treat them like the bank. Don't go there asking them to help you get approved. Go to your bank separately. Leave the middleman out of it, and don't let them try to tell you, like if you're there, that they can get the payment you want. There isn't no magic formula. Like I said before, there isn't a magic formula of getting the lower payment. There isn't. It's the best way is to is pay more money down or getting a better rate or stretching your terms out, which I don't advise stretching your terms out longer. I think it's better to pay more money down or shop around for a better interest rate. And you, within 30-day period, it doesn't hurt your credit as much. You know, like you can shop around. Like I'll apply for a loan. I'll apply for, if I like the rate I'm at, I'll apply for 4 or 5 different loans to see which one gives me a better rate. The way it affects your report isn't the same. Like the misconception is, oh, if you hit that many inquiries, is going to be, you know, detrimental to your credit score. No, spreading out over every few months, if you keep hitting and applying for a new credit, yes, it will hurt your score. But doing it within a short 30-day period, the banks are going to see you as shopping like it's okay. Anytime that question comes up, you kindly read the question and say, I'm actually focusing on the overall type of price of the car. When you negotiate the car, when you're trying to find out the cost of the car, find out the cost of the car out the door. That means including the taxes and the fees. Don't just look at the sticker price. Okay, sticker price on this car, $38,000. Okay, let's do it. Or can you guys go down 36,000? Dealer says, yeah, we can 36. Because then when you're trading in your car, they're gonna give you less on your trade-in. So that's you don't want to do that too. You want to wait. I even recommend trading your car into two separate dealerships. I would never go to the same dealer because they're gonna play the up and down game, whether you like it or not. They're gonna find a way to get that money back. So negotiate it separately. Negotiate the price of the car. Get the car you want. Out the door price, which means includes the taxes in there and includes all the fees. And you want to see the breakdown of fees because a lot of times they'll add on the other coatings onto the car, the environmental protections, the fabric protections, the Xylon, whatever it is, and accessories like the vent things on the door guards and the things on the windows and things like that, and things that you may not have picked out. But guess what? You got to pay for that. You got to pay a markup on that. You got to pay a dealer cost on that, and it's kind of ridiculous that you're being forced to pay for accessories you didn't want on that car. Not just paying for it, you gotta finance that. So I just don't know. I don't think that's best. Now I'm talking more when I'm saying that I'm referring more to the Honda dealerships. I'm not saying like the other dealers, but I typically when I deal with Mercedes, BMW, I don't see a lot of those practices. I think sometimes they play less games. I think because they see more people. The demographic is someone who just wants to go in. Hey, let's get this car. Don't play games with me. But when you go into, I think when I see like when I negotiate with Honda, Toyota, Chevrolet, and everything else, when I'm dealing with them, I start to see that 4-square sheet come out. The first thing they want to do before I even found the car, before we even sat down, they want to pull out this 4-square and they want me to discuss how we're gonna pay for the car. First of all, let me determine if I like the car first. Let's test drive the car first. But when I asked them about an inquiry on the car, like I was looking at my sister and I were looking at the Shelby. GT350, and we asked if they had the car in stock. The first thing they wanted to do is sit us down to pull out the sheet and stuff and want to sit down and discuss it to pay for it. I said no, let's look at the car, test drive, make sure you have the car in stock first before we even discuss how you're paying for it. That upsets me a lot when that happens. First of all, how do you know if I don't have the cash right here in my trunk? So why don't we put that aside right now? That anyway, so that's a whole different. I'm getting off track here. But if you're trying to negotiate a car like this, something that's hot, you want to just try to do in-house financing first, and then that'd be the quickest way to obtain the car. Especially if you're out of state, you can grab the car. Fill it out. Send me that information. If it matches your credit union, matches what your bank gets, perfect. You can go with it, and then you can drive away with the car pretty much that same day. If you don't like it, if they don't do anything differently, and you're there in person, you're ready to go for it, you can just go ahead and do the steps you need to do before you get in the car. Your 8 years or anything going and beyond that is a long time to finance a car. You're going to be on some, like I said, 6 years is a sweet spot because in 3 years you pretty much can be in a good point to sell the car later on. But when you go fast and that your family circumstances could change, you might need to get a truck later. You may need to get You know, anything else. You may this car, the cars that you have at the time may not work. Who knows what they are going to be in 8 years from now? And last thing you want to do is be stuck with the car, and you have to roll over negative equity. What is negative equity? Negative equity is, say, for example, I want to trade in this M3. All right, let's say I got a loan on this car for $40,000. Okay, I go to trade it in to the dealership. Dealership says I'll give you $30,000 for it, but my loan is still $40,000. Dealer says, okay, don't worry, we'll pay off your loan, and then we'll just roll over to your next car. So say I want to buy this car, what they do is that there's a $10,000 difference that I still owe the bank. The dealership's going to take care of that for me. They're going to pay off that bank, but they're going to instead is collect that $10,000 and then roll that to this car. So now instead of this car being $40,000, it is $50,000 because that $10,000 had rolled over here. And you got taxes on to this car, which is now, you know, $55,000, and then plus you got to add the other fees. Now I'm at financing this car almost $60,000, which is another thing you don't want to do is roll over negative equity. If you upside down in your current car, you need to pay off. Don't even trade it in. Pay it down, do what you can, make double your payments if you have to, but do not roll over any equity, negative equity, into a different car. Okay, it's okay to roll a positive equity as down payment. You can definitely use that. That's a good way to put down payment on a car, is to have the positive equity, which means, say for example, same situation. I go trade in this car. They say, hey, we'll give you, you know, $30,000 for it, but I owe $20,000 on it. That's $10,000 that could be applied on this car. So then instead of paying $40,000 for the price of the car, I could roll the $10,000 into it and only finance $30,000. Once we got all that, once we are done dealing with that, the whole financial thing, we negotiated either I'm going using their in-house financing or I'm using the bank, my personal bank. We're not done yet. We agreed on a price, out the door price, which means including taxes. We say, okay, I'm okay with that. This is what I want to do. You shake hands. You're not done. They said, okay, and if it's a Saturday, guess what? You're waiting for a couple hours because you're gonna get to see the finance manager office. And what he's gonna do, his office, he's gonna have a whole list of sheets. He's gonna have it all prepared for you. So you're gonna sign a bunch of sheets you're gonna be signing. And this is the part where they catch you off guard because you're excited. You really want to buy this car. This is the last step you need to do. You drive this car home. You're thinking about, hey, I'm gonna take it to show my friends. I'm gonna, friends and family. I want to show them what I got. Post it on, the Instagram. While it's happening, your sales advisor comes in and he says, hey, Kurt, once again, congratulations on your car. Appreciate your business, everything else. I'm gonna get the plate and everything on for you. We get the car in detail, and you're thinking like, yeah, And this finance manager, he's already getting everything signed. He signed this, and read the fine print. Make sure you're reading everything before you sign. And also, this is a chance he's going to upsell you on other products. And this products you're not gonna see the cost of it. It's going to be maybe $5 a month or $10 a month. And you're thinking, yeah, I could do that. I could add the extended warranty. I could add these other protections and stuff on the car. No, say no. First of all, that can be negotiated. If you really want it, you can negotiate that. Second of all, warranty on a car like this, you don't have to do it while it's in a factory warranty. You can wait until the last day while the car is still covered under factory warranty, and you can extend the warranty then. So if it's a good car for you, why spend another $3,000 to $4,000 for just in case? But if it's been a troublesome car, you might have some problems with it. You can trade it in before warranty's up, or you can go ahead and add that extended warranty while the car is still covered under the original factory warranty. And you can negotiate that. You can go to any dealership. It doesn't have to be that particular dealership. You can go to any as long as that same brand. You can go to that dealership and then visit and go from there. And what is gap insurance? Gap insurance says in an unforeseen circumstance, you get into an accident and total your car. And let's say, for example, I didn't put any money down. I bought this car. One of these cars for $40,000 and is only worth $30,000. Okay. The car's totaled. Now I still got to pay a payment on that $40,000 loan because I can't buy a new car because the bank only gave me $30,000, or sorry, my insurance only gave me $30,000. I still owe the bank $10,000. The gap insurance kicks in, and that's where the gap insurance can cover the difference. No matter what it is, they'll cover the difference and pay off your loan if you're upside down. Okay. Now, if you put the taxes down at least, and if you are someone who knows what the car value is going to be, like for example, I didn't get gap insurance on Type R. You've seen the value on Type R's. You know that they hold their value. I skipped gap insurance because this car is now worth, I've had this car for a few months, the car is now worth more than my loan. So the gap insurance is not needed. If you're putting $10,000 down on a car or any money down, at least cover the taxes. And if you're not someone who puts a lot of miles in their cars, skip gap insurance. If you're someone who puts a lot of miles in your car, or if you're someone who didn't put any money down in your car, buy the gap insurance. But that can also be negotiated in the office too. So you can just say, no, I don't want to pay that price. I want to go from there. All right, so if you found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up. I just want to help those because with the new 2023 is coming out, and everyone loved to hear my story with the how I purchased Type R. I want to just help those who are wanting to do it. So this would definitely something that you should watch. Okay, so just recap. Number one, check your credit, know your credit score. Number two, know your budget, see how much you're paying per month, knowing what you can afford per month. Play the calculators, know what you apply for the loan. Number three, don't discuss the payment at the dealership. Just go ahead and find a car you like, okay? Number four, don't be tricked into being upsold on certain things. And then number five, just another thing I want to throw in here, don't roll over any negative equity into your car, okay? And number six, I'm doing number six in here. If your credit needs improvement, fix your credit first. Don't walk in there with bad credit or less than perfect credit and then trying to go ahead and buy this car because you're going to be paying more. And while the excitement is there, which I get, you're excited and you really want a new car, that once that wears off, you're going to realize that you're paying a lot more for a car that you shouldn't have. Okay, and as long as you have a working car, deal with those issues on the side first. That's my best advice. All right, thanks for watching. The video is probably longer than I should have been, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next one. One thing I wanted to add, and this was as I was editing the video, is if you like the advice I gave so far, as far as purchasing, getting pre-approved, I'm gonna do another video if you're interested as far as obtaining your car, especially for out of state, whether you should drive it or shipping. I can recommend my personal experience with a shipping company that I've had good results with, and typical costs and how to shop around for shipping your car out of state. And then we'll do another video as far as protecting your car so it remains looking like new. All right, so if you found this helpful, be sure give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think and let me know your experiences. See if you can have, if you agree or disagree. Thank you.